Hello, beautiful people. I'm going to be reading Pride and Prejudice, Volume 2, Chapter 5. Let's start now. Every object in the next day's journey was new and interesting to Elizabeth, and her spirits were in a state for enjoyment, for she had seen her sister looking so well as to banish all fear for her health, and the prospect of her northern tour was a constant source of delight. When they left the high road for the lane to Hunsford, every eye was in search of the personage, and every turning expected to bring it in a view. The paling of Rosings Park was their bound, boundary, or on one side. Elizabeth smiled at the recollection of all that she had heard of its inhabitants. At length the Paris personage was discernible, the garden sloping to the road, the house standing in it, the garden pales, and the laurel ledge, ledge, he- le- let me look up this word. Hedge. Everything discovered they Everything declared they were arriving. Mr. Collins and Charlotte appeared at the door, and their carriage stopped at the small gate which led by a short gravel walk to the house. Amidst the nods and smiles of the whole party. In a moment they were all out of the chaise, rejoicing at the sight of each other. Mrs. Collins welcomed her friend with the liveliest pleasure, and Elizabeth was more and more satisfied with Carmen when she found herself so affectionately received. She saw instantly that her cousin's manners were not altered by his marriage. His formal civility was just what what it has been, and he obtained her some minutes at the gate to hear and certify his inquiries of all family. They were then with no other delay than his pointing out the neatness of the entrance taken into the house as soon as they were in the parlor. He welcomed them a second time with guys, I'm gonna be looking up this word, and also I'm gonna be doing voices. So like different voices, like reading. Like I don't know how to explain it, but let me look up this word. Ostentatious formality to his humble abode, and partially repeated all his wife's offer of reflection. Elizabeth was prepared to see him in his glory, and she could not help fancying that in displaying the good proportion of the room, its aspect, and its fine furniture, he addressed himself particularly to her as if wishing to make her feel what she had lost in refusing him, and though everything seemed neat and comfortable, she was not able to gratify him by any sign of Rivet, repentant, and rather looked with wonder at her friend. She could have so cheerful an air with such a companion, and when Mr. Collins said anything of which his wife might reasonably be ashamed, which certainly was not unseldom, she voluntarily turned her eyes on Charlotte. One or twice she could discern a faint blush, but in general, Charlotte wisely did not hear, after sitting long enough to admire every article of furniture in the room, from the sideboard to the Fender to give an account of the journey and all of that had happened in London. Mr. Collins invited them to take a stroll in the garden, which was large and well laid out, and to the cultivation of which he attended himself. To work in his garden was more of his most respectable pleasures. And Elizabeth admired the command of the continent with which Charlotte talked of the healthfulness of the exercise and owned she encouraged it as much as possible. Here, leading the way through every walk and crosswalk, and scarcely allowing them an interval to utter the praises he asked for. Every view was pointed out with a minuteness which left beauty entirely behind. He could number the fields in every direction and could tell how many trees there were in the most distant clumps. And all the views which his garden or which the country or the kingdom could boast, none were to be compared with the prospect of Rosings, afforded by an opening in the trees and that bordered the park, nearly impossible the front of his house. It was a handsome modern building, well situated on rising ground. From his garden, Mr. Collins would have led them round his two, and look up this word. It's fun to do characters. Meadows, but the ladies now having shoes to encounter the remains of a white frost turned back, and while Sir Williams accompanied him, Charlotte took her sister and her friend over the house, extremely well pleased, probably to have the opportunity of screwing. Is screwing? Let me look it up. Showing it without her husband's help. It was rather small and well built and convenient, and everything was fitted up and arranged with a neatness and consistency of which Elizabeth gave Charlotte all the credit. When Mr. Collins could be forgotten, there was really a great air of comfort throughout, and by Charlotte's evidence, wait, is it? It's not evident. Let me look it up. Oh, it's evident. Oh my goodness! Charlotte's evident enjoying of it. Elizabeth supposed he must be often forgotten. She has already learned that Lady Catherine was still in the country. It was spoken again while they were at dinner when Mr. Collins joined in and observed, "Yes, Miss Elizabeth, you will have the honor of seeing Lady Catherine de Bourgh on the ensuing Sunday at church, and I need you not to say you'll be delighted with her. She's all affordability and condescension, and I doubt not, but you'll be honored with some portion of her notice when the service is over. I have scarcely any hesitation in saying that she will indeed she will include you and my sister Maria in every conversation with which she honors us during your stay here. Her behavior to my dear Charlotte is charming. We dine at Rosen twice a week every week and are never allowed to walk home. Her ladyship's carriage is regularly ordered for us. I should say one of her ladyship's carriages for She has several. Lady Katrine is a very respectable, sensible woman indeed, added Charlotte, and a most attentive neighbor. Very true, my dear. That is exactly what I say. She's not the sort of woman who one cannot regard with too much defense. The evening was spent chiefly in talking over Hunsford news and telling again with what had been already written, and when it closed, Elizabeth in the solitude of her chamber had to meditate upon Charlotte's degree of contentment and to understand her dress in guiding and composure in bearing with her husband and to acknowledge that it was all done very well. She had also to anticipate how her visit will pass. The quiet let me look it up, the quiet tenor of their usual employment and the vicious interaction of Mr. Collins and the gas garricity is it garricity? Gaieties of their intercourse with Rosings, a lively imagination soon settled it all. About the middle of the next day, as she was in her room getting ready for a walk, a sudden noise below seemed to speak the whole house in confusion, and after listening to a moment, she heard somebody running up upstairs in a violent hurry and calling loudly after her. She opened the door and met Maria in the landing place, who, breathless with agitation, cried out, "Oh, my dear lady, pray make haste and come into the dining room, for there is such a sight to be seen. I will not tell you what it is. Make haste! Come down!" What's this word? Make haste! Come down this moment! Elizabeth asked question in vain. Maria could tell her nothing more, and down they ran into the dining room, which fronted the lane, and in quest of this wonder it was two ladies stopping in a low let me look up this word. Phaeton at the garden. Is this all? Cried Elizabeth. I expected at least that the pigs would got into the garden and here is nothing but Lady Katrine and her daughter. La! My dear, said Maria, quite shocked at the mistake. It was not Lady Katrine. The old lady is Mrs. J- Jenkinson, who lives with them, and the other is Miss Debon. Only look at her. She's quite a little creature. Who would have thought she could be so thin and small? She is abominably rude to keep Charlotte out of the door in all this wind. Why does she not come in? Oh! Charlotte say, she hardly ever does. It is the greatest of all favours when Mrs. Debon comes in. I like her appearance, said Elizabeth, struck with other ideas. She looks sickly and cross. Yeah, she will do it for him. Very well. She'll make him a very proper wife. Mrs. Collins and Charlotte were both standing at the gate in conversation with the ladies, and Sir William, to Elizabeth's high division, was stationed in the doorway in the earnest com com con plant. Let me look up this word. Com plem contemplation of the greatest before him and constantly bowing whenever Mr. Bob looked that way. At length there was nothing more to be said. The ladies drove on, and the others returned in the house. Mr. Collins no sooner saw the two girls than he began to congratulate them on their good fortune, which Charlotte explained by letting them know that the whole party was asked to dine at Rosings the next day. I'm done. Oh my goodness, I love doing like different characters, like using my voice. It's fun. I think I should start doing that. Yeah, using like speaking in different characters voices. Oh my god, I hope you guys get what I'm saying, but I'm done. I'm gonna read the next chapter tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you. And I'm proud of myself for reading this. Yeah, I am. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye.